Well, I want to put out this video because you probably won't believe it, or maybe you didn't hear it, but they're having transgenders now in sexual assignment surgery in the military and a transgender sexual reassignment program in the military, paid for by the military. And there's going to be all these new rules and stuff. Actually, in Hollywood, though, probably you don't know about it. This is like a Hollywood actress. This is Elisa Liu or something. Here's another one here. I don't know what her name is. Kane, whatever. These are transgenders. You probably never knew it. It's like they've been doing this stuff to the American. This one I can't believe. But Claudia, whatever her name is, that's a transgender, and then she was disqualified on some contest she was going in because they found out she was a male originally when she was born. But they're doing this. They're doing this in Kiki Gorgeous, whatever the hell. I don't know who it is. I don't know what that's her real name. That's probably not her real name. Um, But they're doing this in the military now, and I'm going to tell you what it really. And if you don't believe me, fine. Here, this is the actual. This is a public document. I just downloaded it. This is the actual rules. September 30th, 2016. Blah blah blah. Transgender service in the U.S. military and the implementation handbook. Um, United States Department of Defense. Per orders by Ash Carter, the Secretary of Defense. Right. So here's the actual document. You're looking at the seal. This is not a spoof, okay? This is the real deal. And anyway, let me first cut to the chase. You know what they're really doing this for? They're not trying to freaking help anybody out. The military is run by scumbags, okay? I'm going to tell you honestly, they're not, you know, they're careerists, man. That's all they are. Um, but really, what's going on from the very, very top? This is a cute, like diabolical method to cut down military readiness. Readiness. That's really what it's all about, and because and also bring down morale. Like in other words, some people the morale is going to be really good, but most people aren't going to like this, and it's going to cause people to just get the hell out of the military. And a lot of people that are in the military are going to be, you know, in there for the wrong reasons. Now, is it possible for a transgender to um, do a good job in the military? Yeah, I think anything's possible. But then again, I remember like several years ago, about 5 years ago, and up to 9 years ago, for a 4.5 year period, I was working out 3.5 years a day, hours a day, intensely, right? Very low body fat, like 7.5, 8%. Um, and since I was in my mid 50s, the rules are in the military, I could never be in the military because I was over the age. It's like the military is an equal opportunity policy provider of employment. It's the military. They got height and weight and I don't know, other requirements, like you can't have a medical condition that even could be somewhat minor, maybe like they say flat feet. I don't even know what the hell the big deal on that is. That's one that you can get disapproved for. Um, but actually, this is going to cost the military a lot of money. Sexual assignment surgery, and they have in here a bunch of acronyms. Like I wasn't familiar with all these acronyms. I was familiar with a lot of them, but but they got new ones. The military medical provider plays a key role in the gender transition process, and there's a lot of different acronyms. Let me see what kind of acronyms they got here. I think it's on page 33. Um, that they go through. In other words, there's exception policies and stuff like that. Yeah, here's the things. Well, body composition assessment. Here's another one, because when a male is transgendering to a female, and they're not all the way transgendered, they're not already to the female, they got a problem where they might have hormones and they can't pass the physical fitness test because of the hormones are interfering with their, I don't know, their strength. And so they got to do an exception to that, and the commander's got to get involved in that. And I'm thinking, boy, that's freaking helping out the defense of the nation. In other words, the military is an equal opportunity employer. It's just like we just take whatever the hell we need to get the job done the cheapest. That's really what it is, right? And actually, that's what all employers are about. But if it's in the area of transgender and you're working in an office, it don't matter, right? I mean, it ain't gonna matter what the hell, But in the military, there's other things that are involved, and if you're not sitting behind a desk or something like that, or even if you're, I don't know, you do roofing, and you're independent contractor, and you want to be transgender. Well, you're an independent contractor. People are just going to go by, can you do the job, and are you giving me a good deal on it? You know. But in the case of the military, since the government's paying and the taxpayers paying all this stuff, these ass wipes on the top of the military, this is what gets me. And this actually displays something else. The military, our U.S. military, is definitely on par with the freaking Nazis and probably worse. The way I'm saying it for this reason, that strongly, is because even 5 years ago or so, they would have never went along with this. 20 years ago, they would have never went along with this. 50 years ago, they would have had you locked up for being a nut job for even suggesting that this was going to happen in the military. And, now it's reality. But, I still realize what it's about. They make it sound like everybody's got an equal opportunity. We're respecting everybody. But really, the underlying reason for them doing this in the military is to destroy readiness. That's what it's about. If you don't want to hear that, and I know somebody's going to say, no, that is really what it's about. Now, am I anti-anybody? No, I don't give a damn. But, to tell you the truth, women in the military, and I put this out before, and YouTube didn't like it, but it's all about military readiness. There shouldn't be as many women in the military because you got a load of people out there in the population that right now is got college degrees and they don't even have jobs, and they're like 20 years old or 22 years old that can go in the military. You got loads of males that can go in the military right now. I mean, but they're not going in the military because of this kind of stuff, to be quite honest. So, I'm just telling you, the reason they're doing this is not to make anybody feel better. The reason they're doing this is really to destroy military readiness. And I don't even give a damn if they argue about with me or not, because I look at it, first off, I know the government's going to collapse. They're not going to be able to pay for this crap. And probably the military is going to get chopped up because of this kind of stuff, because it's not just that you got a few percentage of people that are transgender or something. That has nothing to do with it. But it's actually hurting the morale of a lot of people that don't agree with this. I think it's stupid. It is stupid, really. It is, because it has nothing to do with military readiness at all. It's like the same, why couldn't I be in the military when I was 55, when I was working out 3.5 hours a day? God, I would have freaking aced the freaking physical fitness test. I was battalion high shooter in the Marine Corps. Intelligent. I could do, all kinds of calculations for artillery, no problem in my head that other people need calculators for. It's like I can read the map, do all the kinds of, I know all the freaking BST training, battle skills training, and everything else. Oh no, you're 55, you couldn't do that. That was even years ago, right? No, you couldn't do that, right? But because it's military readiness, right? I mean, why don't they even have the physical fitness test exactly the same for the males and the females? Well, that's because they're females. Well, you see what I mean? I mean, if it's all equal, it's not equal, right? It's not really equal. So my point is, really, this is where the biggest danger is. It's not even arguing about this policy. I got zero respect for the people on the top. And that tells me if they were ordered to kill off, people in the United States because they consider them to be terrorists, quote unquote, because, I don't know, they voted for Donald Trump. I don't know what the hell they would do, or whatever. They would do it. They'd do it in a heartbeat because they don't believe, the guys on the top don't believe in this. That are implementing this and are doing a total quality lip service, that's what I always called it, not total quality leadership. They're actually just doing this because it's good for their career. Now, hopefully YouTube doesn't find this advertiser unfriendly, but who the hell knows? But I'm being honest, because I don't think, if they wreck the United States military by killing the morale, which they've already been doing under the freaking Obama administration, I can tell you right now that it's over with. It's not just the government's over with. See, I'd like to see the government pretty much collapse and the private sector thrive and do well. But if they really destroy the military, guess what? Then you're going to be, YouTube could be destroyed. I mean, everything that we base business on or whatever. So they got this other thing called military health system, or what the hell is it? Another one, military. Oh, they have some of these things I knew about. Military Service Academy, physical fitness test. Real life experience. I never heard of that. I mean, I've heard of ROTC, of course, and the IRR is the individual ready reserve. Another thing is too. A lot of these people, if they want to get out of deploying, they can go ahead and what do you call it? Just go and say I'm going to transgender now, and I get out of deploying. So in other words, individual medical readiness, right? That's another new term. I don't know if that's a new term. I never heard that term. I know about other types of readiness, but I don't know what this was. Medical readiness. Medical care for transgender is managed in the same way as other medical conditions. You are non-deployable for some periods during your gender transition process. It is your responsibility to form your leadership regarding your medical condition when, as a result of any medical treatment, you will be non-deployable. So they can get out of deployment. Then your physical readiness testing is to be based upon your gender marker. So if you go from female to male, that's going to be pretty tough to pass the test. If you go from male to female, it's going to be easier. Now, I guess the harder thing would be the weight, because the female is going to have smaller bone structures going to male. So male might be 200 pounds or something, and they'll be overweight for a female, but then they can get a waiver. It's like, well, you passed the physical fitness test, ma'am. This is not gonna freaking go over very well in the freaking military. I can tell you right now, it doesn't go very, very well in the military. I know some people say it does. Oh yeah, but by and large, I noticed every time they had women mixed in units in the military, everything slowed down a lot. Mm-hmm. And of course, there was kiss asses saying, "Oh, she can do a very good job." Even if she can run freaking fast, you put a pack on her and it usually go. I've noticed this shit, and I know some males are freaking crappy, but generally speaking, that doesn't even work. So I always drew the line at that. I don't draw the line on any kind of ethnic crap. I mean, I'm not drawing a line there. I mean, I never did that. I always stuck with the black guys and the Hispanic guys and all that kind of shit. Asian guys. Guys stick together, man. I mean, it's like, military is something, it's male, man. It's what the hell it is. Mainly. It's not, and honestly, the damn stuff that's going on in the military, I didn't even notice till I got out of the military. They had Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Then they came out with Openly Gay later, right? But before that was even out, implemented as a policy, this is honest, there was a lot of gay stuff going on in the upper commands and the generals. And I don't even want to mention, it was even high up in the Marine Corps, including one of the commandants in the Marine Corps. And on the YouTube, you're not going to like that, but you know what? I know it for a fact. That because I heard about it when I was in, I didn't believe it, but then I heard other stuff from Major Brown it's like a lot of crazy shit going on. So if there's one that's a general that was gay, there's a whole bunch of them. So like meantime, they're burning all these enlisted people if they were possibly gay or whatever the hell it was, and getting them out and giving them dishonorable discharge and shit. And in the meantime, the people on the top were. So it was like stupid. I mean, I guess in the military, there's probably always been like that. But by and large, I'd say 99% are heterosexual in the military. There's going to be 1%, and I don't know about that. I'm not too sure about that kind of rule because a male can do the job, even if they're gay or not, right? I mean, they could lift up somebody. They could put up the tents, like the heavier tents and stuff like that. They could pull the ropes and stuff, whatever they got to do. They can lift the pack. Very rarely can a female do all that stuff. And I know YouTube hates me for saying that shit, but that's honestly the truth. But they got different standards. Now, when they introduced this transgender stuff, it's not just that it's creating more bullshit to do in the military and more crap for the commanders to do. More stuff that more commanders are going to say, I don't even want to freaking bother with this shit anymore. It's actually going to cause a lot of people just to leave that are first termers. In other words, I ain't going to re-enlist for this crap. You know what I mean? And actually, you know what? They spend more time on sensitivity training than they do on battle skills training sometimes when they get an issue. Like when they had the tailhook event that happened way back, whenever the hell it was, and that was probably a bunch of BS, or like it wasn't all what the media made it out to be. Oh, they had sensitivity training about sexual harassment left and right in the military. Like that's all it was. But that also tells you that would the military kill the freaking American population or elements of the American population if they were ordered to do so, just because somebody deemed them to be, I don't know, Bible thumpers or something? I don't know, whatever the hell they did. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would, because they do this. You see, none of the military 20 years ago would have ever done this. They would have thought you were nuts for freaking, I mean, even 5, 10 years ago, they would have thought this was crazy. This would never happen. But, that's actually more of my point on this video. But they've actually been playing games with the American public a long time, because in Hollywood, a lot of people, a lot of high-end actors. I don't even know any of these actresses. These are like Hollywood people or some bullshit Gina, whatever the hell her name is. I don't know what the hell these people are. But because I don't follow any Hollywood shit. But these are examples of transgender people that were males, and they have males to females. But I don't even put, I don't know. Somehow it doesn't gross me out as much. But these women in here that are transgender, they look more female than 99% of freaking females in the United States. But even that's another issue that's coming up. And I forgot what the hell it was. There was Blair White. Is that one of the ones on YouTube? Is that her name? I couldn't remember her name when I started this video, and I figured I'd start anyway. But she was remarking, and she's a transgender, right? She was remarking that there's also a movement against transgender females that look womanly. Like, in other words, this transgender female looks like more womanly. Well, I don't know. I mean, by DNA, she's a male, but by appearance, she's like more female than most females. But this Blair White was saying that there was a movement against that because they want, like, the person not to look like either sex or something like that. I don't know what the hell that means. And maybe that's people that were trying to go from male to female or female to male, and they didn't do it a good job to go to the other sex as much, and they look like their original sex, and they're jealous. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But to me, for military readiness, this crap don't make sense. Even the females that are biological females in the military, largely, you don't need as many as they got in there right now. They always there's always that reason that, okay, that releases a male to fight. Well, I'm thinking to myself, well, that kind of threw out there's no longer that, because the females are supposedly getting into combat roles, right? Supposedly. Now, the other thing is, but if they, they say if they could do the job, but then I don't even know. There's always like one female that could do the job, as a percentage. It's like not like all females are real weak or anything like that. Some can do the job. But then if you throw females in with males, what happens then? When you're out in the field. I mean, come on, man. You got to be kidding me, man. You know what I mean? And then if you mix in transgenders and homosexuals, I think it just makes total confusion all the way. I mean, on how the people in the unit interact with each other. And if you think there's no human element involved there, like it's all like the military is like one big machine, and everybody just like, oh, sir, I obey you because you're a lieutenant. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't work like that if, you don't, if you think something in your head, even though you can't say it, say this was your captain. I mean, what the hell are you going to be thinking, man? I mean, really? Right? Right, YouTube? I mean, come on. But my point is, these guys on the top aren't stupid that implementing this policy. They're really doing it to destroy military readiness. You see, my hope is that the evil bastards in the government get it, and the government just goes broke, and all these jerks that freaking been working for the government for umpteen years, they don't get their retirement, including these jerks in the military. Because actually, I'm going to tell you, the reality situation is, the military got most of its reputation, stellar reputation, from first termers. Most of it. Even when you're looking in World War II, like say the Marine Corps, right? World War II, the island hopping campaign. All those people that did the island hopping campaign, vast majority of them were out of the Marine Corps by the end of the war. They were gone. Then you had new people come in, but that becomes part of the Marine Corps ideology, right? That you know, Iwo Jima, terror with terrorists, and all that. But really, the real backbone of all the military is the first termers. It's like, you know, the lance corporals and shit, I don't know, corporals and the NCOs, you know, the regular, not the staff NCOs even so much. Not so much the officers. It's like the rank and file and, you know, the privates, the lance, well, I call it lance corporals because it's Marine Corps, but, you know, what are they, PFCs or something? You know, well, nobody's a private pretty much unless they got busted. You got PFCs, lance corporals, and lance coolies, and the corporals and the sergeants. And yeah, staff sergeants, but the higher up they go, the worse they are, usually. Most of the time. Most of the time. Um, because they're careerists. The ones that really make the reputation in the military are the first termers. Thing is, they're not getting paid that much, right? And they got nothing to lose because they've been in there 4 years, or maybe they're second termers. They've been in there 8 years or 6 years. Then they're looking at, you know, 16 more years or 12 more years or 18 more years to retire. They're going to look at this and going to say, screw this shit, I'm out of here. Now, what kind of people are going to be attracted to the military? You can go in the military and get transitioned for nothing. And then you can also get out of combat because you're non-deployable when you're transitioning. And you got to have all this paid for. So this is just going to attract a bunch of people that want to be transgender into the military. in the U.S. population. But you see, it's not like these guys on the top are stupid. They're doing this on purpose. That's my whole point. I don't give a shit if they did this. You know what? As long as Warren Buffett paid for it, the Clinton Foundation paid for it, Bill Gates paid for it, and George Soros paid for it, and who else? I don't know, Barack Obama maybe? Throw his money in there. Oh, the Bush family. And even the governor of Florida. I mean, he wouldn't be for this, but, you know, he's a crook, though. And Jamie Dimon or something. You know, anybody. You know, Rockefeller. Let them pay for it. I mean, if you want to do this and you want to have all free transgender services, I don't think the taxpayers should pay for it. I think it's ought to be paid for by these freaking yo-yos on the top. I'm not really against the transgenders at all. I'm not against a woman, man. Not at all. But, you know, what's next? I mean, sensitivity training, we're going to have everybody's going to have to use a French tickler. So you're sensitive to transgenders? Hey, whatever, man. I mean, God, that's probably over the top for YouTube. Yeah, you know, you don't know what a French tickler is anyway, YouTube. I don't even know what it is. It's probably not even looked up. You could probably look it up in Berkeley's freaking dictionary, weird stuff, and it's probably not even there. But, you know, what is this guy doing? This Ashcroft Carter guy? He's trying to destroy military readiness. Actually, military readiness has been kind of going downhill since Obama got in office, man. And yeah, I mean, why not? Why not have a transgender in the military? I mean, even Mrs. Michelle Obama's transgender, right? I mean, she is, right? What the hell? I mean, I don't really care though, but I realize. You see, when I'm saying I don't care about it, I don't care about it, really. I don't care about it. The thing is, it's not like I'm not against the trans. Even somebody wants to even join the military to transgender. I mean, I didn't like people joining the military because they knew if they get married, they can get the other one joined the military, and if they're member married to member, they get all these bennies. That was freaking rip-off bullshit too. They do that all the time. There's also people going to the military because I get a free college education or some shit. You know what I mean? I would join the military coming right out of Harts Mountain Corporation with a college degree, working for freaking main offices from the billionaire Leonard Stern up in New Jersey in the main accounting office. And I went right into the military, enlisted, boot camp. I left there Friday and went into boot camp Monday. He took a serious pay cut. And I didn't go officer because don't call me sir. I work for a living. Okay? I mean, I actually freaking sacrificed some shit there, you know what I mean? All these other people, they never got paid so much money in their life when they joined the military, you know? So don't tell me, Mr. and Mrs. YouTube, you better not be telling me anything about this shit, because I'll tell you one thing. I actually did some shit. And actually, I don't give a damn freaking transgenders in the military. They can do what the hell they want. But the thing is, I know these guys on the top are telling me loud and clear that they're weasels and they go along with anything. Because in their hearts, they don't believe in this shit. But they obey orders. But in their hearts, if they didn't believe in killing off a lot of the American population because maybe they're politically not what the hell they want them to be or some shit, or maybe, the U.S. government went broke and the Chinese said we want half the land in the United States, tell everybody to give up their homes in the United States, and the U.S. military is ordered to freaking tell everybody get the hell out of your house and go into FEMA camps or some shit, if you want to give an extreme example, they do it. Because they don't give a shit, because all they're about is their own pay and bennies. That's what they're about. Who the hell needs... These guys ain't volunteers. I mean, I'm talking about the career guys. The first termers are more or less volunteers. But even then, you got stuff in there like, oh, good, I get paid this. I never got paid this much. Really? Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah, I can go to college for nothing. Oh, yeah. you know what I mean. There's a lot of free... I actually took a serious cut going in that shit. But everybody in my family was in the military, so I figured if I don't do it, I'll go do it. I said, we're here to fucking do it. And I did it for 13 years, so what the hell. But, the deal, and I ain't trying to say nothing here, you know what I mean? But I am kind of fed up with all these yo-yos that are careerist scumbags. And it's not this transgender issue so much. It's telling me loud and clear, the people on the top of the military, they need to eat shit and die. I'm telling you right now. I'm not even focusing on the transgenders at all. But actually, when I was in the military, I said, even when you're talking strictly military readiness, there shouldn't be as many women in the military, too. And that was another thing. YouTube, you love me for that shit. I know. But that's the reality thing. But, they've been playing this game. But, Hollywood's one thing. Hollywood, fine, I didn't even know. This chick is a transgender. Holy smokes. That's a transgender? God. Anyway, it's impossible to tell. Anyway, but the thing is, I got to say this. When they're doing this in the military, it's like, what the hell is the military for? I don't know. Transitioning, right? Is that what the military's for? So, not really. But, I don't want to say that, but, it's like people, that really is, the really thing is, like, and I think everybody that's going to start criticizing this, they're going to be going after, like, the transgenders and the military. But my main point on this whole thing is, it tells you the people on the top of the military that run the military, they're scum. It's because if they were ordered, let me just tell you, if you take the extreme, if they were ordered to kill all the transgenders, the people on the top of the military, they would do so. Because somebody up there, say Ash Carter, said all these transgenders are a threat to our national security and they're worst, say he just said that, and you were ordered to kill them, these people on the top of the military would do that. I wouldn't. Because I'm not a Nazi. You understand where I'm coming from? That's why I don't like these jerks in the military. They ain't volunteers. They're paid mercenaries, man. And it's not, I can't really say the first termers are necessarily the paid mercenaries, because when the shit comes down, they're the ones that get dumped on. They're not the ones, even if you're not in the front lines getting shot at, you get worked to death and you get stay away training and all this other crap. You know what I mean? You get high stress all the time, and it never stops. So even if you're not getting blown up or something like that, even when it comes down to it, the people that are enlisted, that are in the lower ranks, they get dogged out like crazy. People on the top, nope, no way. And this whole thing, it's a 74-page, 72-page. I forgot where the hell I got it. It's all public. It's a download. All the public can look at it. It goes into all this stuff, all these situations, what the commander's got to do, his roles and responsibilities. What happens when you're transgendering and all this kind of shit. But it's not really all about the transgender issue. To me, it's about these guys on the top. If they were told to kill everybody's mother in the United States, they would do it. They just follow orders. They're out for number one, their own career, whatever pays them. That's what they're about. They're not doing this. They're not on board with this because it's in their heart. No, not at all. But they don't. They do anything. It's because it's not. It's no skin off their back. You know what I mean? And the people are probably going to be affected the most. Like I told you, it's the first termers, the ones that actually are the main reason why anybody. There's a Marine Corps, there's an Army, there's a Navy. It's really the people, the sailors aboard the ships that were taking the brunt of all the punishment and stuff like that. They were fighting, in World War II or whatever, Vietnam, even off the coast of Vietnam or whatever, right? The first termers were taking the brunt of everything, or the second termers, or maybe, but not the 20-year people, not the 25-year people, you know? Very few of them. Yeah, I know you need them because they got the experience and shit, but it's like, this is telling me, this is actually telling me, if you wreck the U.S. military through stuff like this, and it's not necessarily because transgenders are in here, but it's because the guys on the top will do anything they're ordered to do, and the people that are coming in are being, for largely, to satisfy a smaller group. Most of the people coming in are not feeling like, just we want to stay in here anymore. That's the reality of the situation. Now, personally, if I was in there, I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, too bad, man. It's not my problem. I'd stay in. I'd stay in. But, I wouldn't transition or nothing. But I'm saying is, I'd stay in because I look at it like you want to stay in anyway because you want to be a thorn in the side to the established crap that's in there. That's really why people that are really good ought to stay in. And not making an issue of somebody's transgender or anti-transgender, but everybody should be against these careerists and suck-ups on the top of the military. And I guarantee you, Ash Carter is not doing this because he's pro-transgender or equal rights. He's only doing this to dismantle the U.S. military readiness. That's all he's doing it for. It's a tough point to prove, okay? But you got even 1 ounce of common sense. While you're trying to please one group, the vast majority of people are being displeased. So he's telling you, like, under the guise of, equality and, dignity and all this kind of crap, other people are saying, this is not what I signed up for. See? So, like he'll say over here, this is the right thing to do for our people and for our force. We are talking about talented Americans who are serving with distinction and who want the opportunity to serve. We can't allow barriers unrelated to a person, but they do. They do allow barriers. They have age. You can't let a 14-year-old in a military, even though maybe that 14-year-old might be really strong and big and mature. You can't let a 55-year-old in the military, or you can't let even a 35-year-old and a 36-year-old in the military when they're first coming in. You got all kinds of different qualifications. So why even have fitness tests? Why even have age tests? Why have any test, right? But while they are pleasing the transgenders, they're not pleasing the rest, the majority. Then they're saying, well, we got to protect the minority. Well, fine, that's fine too. But I actually think, I'd be all for this only if Warren Buffett paid for it, George Soros paid for it, Rockefeller paid for it, Melissa and Bill Gates paid for it. I'd be all for it. I'll be all for it. I think anybody that wants to be a transgender or transition in this country, I think those rich bastards ought to pay for it. There ought to be a special tax on all the billionaires in this country, including Trump. I don't give a shit. I mean, if you got to nail all of them, what the hell? The Clinton Foundation ought to pay for it. You got to take all the money out of that thing and pay for all the transgenders transitioning. I'm not really against the transgenders. I'm not against anybody at all. I just realized what's going on behind this scenes, and I know how the conservatives are going to talk about this. They're going to say, they're going to look at it like anti-transgender, and I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like another way. And I don't know. If you can't see through the freaking smoke, man, I mean, forget it. I mean, I don't know. I beat the issue to death here already, but I'm trying to come at it from a different angle than most people would. It's like I don't really give a damn if there's transgenders in the freaking military so much, but I realize why they're doing this. Not the transgenders, but the top people that are like in the Obama administration. They're using it. They're trying to wreck military readiness, and they're telling it. They're doing it. They're doing it with words. They're saying just the opposite. Oh, we got other talent. There's loads of talent out there, man. You know how many freaking millennials graduated with, degrees left and right from college that don't have jobs? Shit, they don't want to go in because of this, man. Probably, you know what I mean? You know, they should go in. They should go in. They should all sign up, man. And put up with the bullshit. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, that's just how it is. But I also realize, what are they really trying to do? They're trying to screw up readiness. But if you get out of the military and you're one of the people that really knows your stuff, you're making them win. So you want to stay in anyway. You know? That's the way I say it. But honestly, this doesn't help military readiness. It's kind of like, you just wouldn't believe this. And, my main point is, the people on the top that go along with this shit, I mean, I guess that's why I'm not in, because I told them, it's stupid, okay? I mean, I told them this shit. I used to ride around on a motorcycle with Clinton for change on an oil tank with the C as a big hammer and sickle, and then people would say, you can't have that on your mic because that's about the commander-in-chief. I says, look, that was his campaign slogan, and he went to Russia in the middle of the winter when you're protesting the Vietnam War, and he had a KGB handler, and when he was in the UK as a Rhodes Scholar, so he loves Russia. So what's wrong with this, Clinton for change? Nothing. So, but they get you one way or the other, even if you don't do anything wrong. They find a way to freaking screw you up so you can't stay in. That's really what happened to me. I mean, I was like an RE1B, which is like the highest freaking non-reenlistment bullshit. And that is called, you're politically incorrect, so fuck you, right? That's what, excuse me, but that's exactly what happened with my ass. Otherwise, I would have still been in there. But I look at this, don't get out. Don't get out because this comes up. Just stay in. Stay in. And, don't do nothing to the transgenders. The real problem is the suck-ups on the top. And I don't want to say anything you should do to them. You can give them a French tickler. Maybe that'd be the answer, but I don't know. Been long on this video, but if you don't believe it, it's true. This is the actual thing. It's a public download. Everybody, the public's encouraged to look at this, what they're doing, non-military medical care, for your transgender, whatever. I don't know. Physical fitness, tips for commanders. Anyway, you should see. Well, I don't want to get. I could tell you a lot more shit, but I can't. It would be way beyond the freaking parameters of YouTube. I could tell you a lot more funny stuff, but I can't. That went on in the military. You wouldn't believe it. There's a lot of crazy shit happens on there. So it's all bullshit, man. But this tells me the military is run by a bunch of damn Nazis. Because they don't agree with this. They're just going along with anything. Because they're getting paid. That's the biggest issue I got with this thing. That's the big crux of the problem. And that is one reason you, as the American people, ought to not trust a standing army. They're bad news. Not the first termers. Maybe they'll have to do what the hell they're told, but it's the guys on the top. They are scumbags. 101 all the way.